Hi guys, and welcome to the Pure Drive 2025 review. It's been 4 years since we've had a new Pure Drive. It is actually the best selling racket of all time from Babolat. Very easy to pick up and play. Today we're joined by Liam Hignett. He's been with the ATP channel for a while now. You're 450 in the world now, yep. Career high, so making moves. All thanks to all things tennis really. Pure Drives, have you used them before?
I've previously had one for about a month and then changed straight away, didn't like it.
Yeah, okay. Do you remember what year that was, what generation?
2015 that was.
Yeah.
So 10 years, nearly 10 years ago now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this year, as you can see, you've got the Pure Drive 100. It's in this nice kind of, I describe it as powder puff blue colour scheme with some nice red accents. We've got it strung up with RPM today at 52 pounds in the 98 and 54 pounds in the 100, just to try and harness some of that control, harness some of that power, sorry. So in terms of the 98, I think you preferred that for the extra control. Yeah. Hitting your spots well with it, your serve was just huge with it. What does that kind of work for? What sort of player does that work for?
Someone looking for that extra power from the baseline, I think, but that, as you said, like easy access to power on the serve. I also felt from the baseline as well, it was pretty good for like the whippiness. Got a nice sort of feel, nice spin on it. So pretty much like an all-rounder, I'd say.
Yeah. This year is the first year with the Pure Drive. The 98, the Area 98 is a super popular frame, probably our most popular frame at all things tennis. The 98 this year is a bit more of a box beam look to it. A bit more of your traditional box beam. It's a much thinner beam than the 100. You notice it's got this red accents, red grommets and bumper. For this year, a change I really like that they've made is they've made it 1620, okay? So you've got an extra cross in there, which harnesses some of the power, and you get a little bit of a lower launch angle. I think the thing is with the Pure Drive, the standard 100 is so easy to pick up and use. You find a lot of intermediates use it, but you see it a lot on the tour as well, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Players that want that put away ability, easy volleys, very stable, and yeah, for players that want to kind of maximize their weapons, it's still an amazing racket, the 100. I do think this year will be kind of the first year that Pure Drive 98 gets its plaudits because it is that extra control in the frame. I do like the shape of the frame as well, that more boxy beam feel. So how often do you see these rackets being used on tour, Pure Drives? You go in any club and you're going to see tons of Pure Drives, but how often do you rock up and someone's playing at this at Challenger Tour level?
Quite often.
Yeah?
It's just such an easy one to go for, especially because you've got the power behind the serve. Like the first few shots are important in doubles, so serve and trying to get a big return, especially on the second serve. So yeah, definitely quite a lot. I know quite a lot of people who have sort of switched to the 98 version as well, just to get that extra bit of control. Yeah.
So before obviously it changed to 1620, how many times have you seen the 98 on the tour?
Not at all.
No, they're using this.
Yes.
The 100.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. Pro players, you would assume that they don't need the power, okay? That their rackets, you think they use a thinner beam, maybe a denser pattern, but the 100 is still a very popular racket on both the ATP and WTA tour. So you really can't go wrong if you're looking for a power racket, nice crisp feel with a Pure Drive. There's a reason why it's the best selling racket of all time now. I do think this 98 is going to be one for the future, when I think it's one of those rackets that people need to try, right? Because they're going to be put off by the Pure Drive name if they're looking for control.
Like you said as well, people are going to be going for the Area 98 as well, like seeing the Alcaraz, seeing the spin and how much control he has over the ball. So maybe this one gets overshadowed a bit by that. So I think it's definitely one to try.
So with the Pure Drives, would you add any weight and customize them?
Just from hitting there, probably quite enjoyed it as it was. Maybe increase the overall weight just to help the stability, but honestly, like, felt very stable from the back. Didn't feel like I was shanking the sweet spots. Feels pretty big, so probably not at this stage. And
you use Solinka Tour Bite normally. What tension do you use?
54 at the minute.
Yeah. So this is slightly less at 52 in the 98. How would you string the racket?
I'd probably actually go lower, like you strung it here. Been having a few sort of shoulder issues, stringing a bit tighter, so I think RPM's maybe a little bit of a softer string as well, so I'd probably go quite low just to give that extra cushion on the ball as well, 52, 50, something like that.
Yeah. So with the Pure Drive, even at 300 grams and 305, you don't necessarily need to add weight. They're very, very stable rackets. They achieve that, especially in the 100. There's a little bit of a thicker beam, as you can see here. But they have quite an high RA Pure Drives. So in order to make that power on the racket, they are made a little bit stiffer in terms of the way they bend. That stiffness gives you that explosive power, but also gives you that stability. They're not maybe one for someone with arm problems. If you've got someone with arm problems that wants to string with full poly, it's probably not a Pure Drive. I would recommend, if you've ever got an arm problem, stay away from full poly anyway. So what was your favourite shot with the racket then?
Quite easily the serve. I was hitting the spots, but I was hitting them with so much power that I didn't really feel like I was going to overhit. Just, yeah, so easy to serve with this racket.
And then the 100 compared, what was your favourite shot with that?
Probably again the serve, again like so much pace with that. Maybe again going a little bit long sometimes when with the 98 and maybe had that slight more feel to the ball. I could caress it, make sure it dropped in, but again serve easily.
Yeah, definitely the serve was firing down some big aces. If you're someone that wants to maximise your weapons, and that's a big thing when you're choosing a racket. If you want a racket that gives you lots of control because maybe you're going out, that's maybe the wrong way to go sometimes. You want a racket that maximises what you do best, rather than thinking, I struggle with a bit of control, I only get like a 90-inch racket, 95-inch racket, because you're going to lose what makes you really good in terms of big serves, big forehands. That kind of serve plus one, I guess, is huge in the doubles circuit when you're playing.
Definitely, yeah, you want to be making as many first serves as you can and then closing the net down. So you're not really spending that much time at the baseline. So you want something that's going to help you put the point away pretty fast.
Cool. So this Pure Drive, I have to say, cosmetically looks really nice, both the Pure Drive 100 and the 98. But also, this is my best Pure Drive in years, in the terms of they really amplified the feel in these. I think over the years, with the Pure Drive, they've got a very similar mould. So obviously the 98 is a brand new mould this year, box beam, and the 1620. The 100 stays true to its roots, but it's a really nice feeling racket. I think they've made a little bit less vibration in the racket, and you get a bit more of a connected feel. So Pure Drive lovers, definitely one to try out this year. And I think definitely with the colour scheme and the way it looks, I think it will be, as ever, one of the most popular rackets you can buy on the market. So let's talk about volleys. Liam's obviously a real top British doubles player. You need that serve, but you also need a really crisp first volley and be able to put them away. How did the Pure Drive do on volleys?
Really well, especially more so than 98, I think. Just had so much control over it, so I could get the angle as well on the volley. Also didn't feel like it was stiff at all, like had a nice plough through as well with the 100 and the 98. So it's definitely something I considered using from a volleying point of view.
So when you have a more powerful racket, because you've used the whiteout before, you've tinkered with the extreme, probably more control orientated rackets than these ones. Where does the power hinder you with a racket when you're volleying? Where does it help?
I think the Pure Drive is pretty good for controlling the power actually, especially with this one. Like the fast one coming at me, I can just sort of deflect it and it actually goes a bit more, whereas with the stiffer rackets like the extreme and the whiteout, there's maybe might not hit it exactly how I want, or it'll come off, whereas this I felt like I could still get that easy plough through. And then also like the first volleys coming through, easy power, getting some nice depth on the ball.
So that almost the racket's giving you more pace. You don't need to add the pace as you're volleying, it's giving you that pace.
Very effortless,
yeah. And then where does it hinder you then?
Potentially a little bit just for sort of more the touch shots. So you've got to just make sure I'm controlling that sort of that pace a bit more and controlling the angle. With the stiff ones it's a bit easier, the feeling's a bit more muted. Yeah. So this one, I've got to perhaps concentrate a little bit more when hitting the volley. Yeah, that makes sense. So as we know, no racket is the holy grail. We're yet to find the holy grail of rackets. There's some very good ones on the market right now. But what would you say are the main criticisms of the Pure Drive? So let's start with the 100. So we talked about it's great for power, easy to use, it's stable. What are the downsides of the 100? Yeah, as you said, it's great for the power, but sometimes, again, from the baseline, really lacking in control. Yeah. Especially if you're wanting to hit a bigger ball, a flatter ball. My backhand's quite flat, so I just felt sometimes I'd go long on that just because the power is too much. Yeah. Other than that, it's as you said, like you can pick it up and it's so easy just to use for that free power if you want it.
Yeah, definitely. You looked very grooved with both of them, to be honest. I mean, very good players make any racket look good in their hand, really, but the Pure Drive does have that kind of pick up and playability. Very easy to find your groove and power with the frame. So maybe the 100 we're talking about, a player like you mentioned, that if you're hitting flatter, if you're a single-hander, you're going to struggle with that slightly higher launch angle.
Yes.
The 1620 and the 19.8, does that harness it all, or do you still have issues with control?
I think the extra string does help with the control, and I actually really liked it on the backhand. I thought I could also get that nice whip on the ball and cushion it and get loads of spin to bring it back into the court. So I think this sort of tiny more sort of muted feeling that it brings definitely helps compared with the 100 on the backhand.
So do you think you're going to see a lot more of these on the tour? Are they going to surpass the best racket player, best selling racket of all time? Where do you reckon they'll sit?
Don't think it's going to quite surpass the bestseller, but I think it's going to be more and more popular when people see the feel that this racket brings and the control and sort of the changes that they made in the frame. Definitely want to give it a go. Sure.
So guys, it is small margins in terms of the changes from the frame. They're definitely more of a connected feel for me, slightly softer feel on impact, which some will like, but you still get that Pure Drive power. It's more dampened in terms of vibration, but you definitely get a nice connected feel when you're playing. This, I think, is going to be a firm fan favourite for 2025, so Babolat, a good job in that. And I'm a big fan of the cosmetics. So if you're a really excellent player like Liam and you want that extra control, the 98 this year with the 1620 definitely brings it into a more player's wheelhouse in terms of it does give you that extra control. The last version being 1619 wasn't a control racket, wasn't a power racket. This is definitely in the control category, but we'd call it an explosive control racket. But this is a racket, if you need that extra power, it's an amazing racket for intermediates, but also advanced players, as we spoke about. So thanks for watching to the end of the video. Please like and subscribe to the channel so we can give you first on new rackets on the scene and help support great athletes like Liam here today.